So, good evening once more, and welcome to tonight's lessons. Last time we stopped at stakeholder analysis, so we had a thorough, in-depth knowledge of stakeholder analysis. So, um, you should be able to identify your stakeholders, and create a gap analysis to understand where you are within your stakeholders and where you are supposed to be. So if you're having challenges with your stakeholders, you should be able to know why you are having challenges after a gap analysis, and you should equally
This
um, be
no.
this great. You have been talking, maybe you don't know you're talking. I've got to put you on mute now. So, and you should be equally create a communication plan for an ongoing management of your stakeholders, because stakeholder management is ongoing. It's not a one-off thing in a project. So if you identify your stakeholders, you continue to engage them throughout the life cycle of the project from initiate stage to closure stage. To do that effectively, you need a communication action plan. So this is what we covered last week. So this week we'll have to continue to other documents. So for that, those documents, we need to see them. I have to start sharing my screen. So this night, well, like I said, we've just concluded stakeholder analysis. We are going to look at quality management plan. In projects, what you document or what you work on is not only to track your projects, monitor the timeline to make sure you don't exceed the timeline, or to make sure you don't go above your budgets. You equally need to track or monitor the quality of outputs, deliverables. You need to make sure that deliverables are coming out of various activities in that project is within the accepted standard. For that, we need quality management plan. So quality management plan defines the quality standard, metrics, and process for ensuring that project deliverable meets requirements. If you go to Agile project, we call it, have acceptance criteria to measure every deliverables within the project. In Agile, in Waterfall, call it quality control or quality management plan. So it's very, very important to understand the quality and have a benchmark to measure. So many project managers don't do all these things, but I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in terms of deliverables, in terms of standard, in terms of documentation. So that's why I'm trying to capture everything. You don't know where you are going to be. Might be where they are very thorough about their project documentation. So you need to know all these things. So this is a simple quality management plan example, how it's going to look. Is a document. So you need to capture, these are various sections you need to capture within your quality management plan. The projects, the project title, you need to capture various for the various deliverables, quality objectives, quality control activities, responsibilities, documentation, change control process, and key performance indicators, KPIs. So these are the things you need to capture. So looking at this example, we're talking about a website redesign. That is the name of this project. And the deliverables here is new website with improved functionalities and user experience. So that is the deliverable. So quality objectives here is number one, to meet all functional requirements, and two, user-friendly interface, and three, visual appealing design, and free of bugs and error, and load quickly on all devices. So this is the quality objectives. So if you are working with your team, any of the deliverables they are producing must meet these quality objectives. For instance, while doing the testing, you must make sure that you have a standard, how fast you want that. You must have a measure, a standard measure, how fast that you say load quickly on all device. Quickly is a bit ambiguous, so you must state the maybe load within 5 seconds. So you must state all these things free of bugs and error. After deploying or before deploying, you must test, make sure that the website is free of bugs and error. So this free of bugs and error, you must state like, see, 90% or 99% or 95%. Is difficult to see a system that is free of bugs. Is very difficult. I have to be honest with you. So many systems, I've developed so many systems I'm using. Over time, continue to see topographical error, mistake here and there. But these are minor bugs. So some of these things can be ignored, but some of the bugs that we have felt, so some of these bugs are major bugs. What we call bugs is error or mistakes in coding or things like that. So it must be free of bugs. User-friendly interface, it must be user-friendly. Users should be able to, use the system very, very freely and happy to use. In some system, you find out some system is very, very difficult to use. And then meet all functional requirements. So these are visually appealing design. These are quality objectives. So it must be documented for you to know those objectives you need to meet within that project in terms of quality control. Then quality control activities. How do you make sure that you meet these objectives? You must have a quality control activity such as code review, design review, usability testing, functionality testing, and browser compatibility testing. All these quality objectives, you need to apply these quality control activities to make sure that they are well, handled. And you need to identify who can do, who is it the responsibility of who in the project. Within this quality control plan, you must state exactly who must do that to avoid people kind of clashing of duties. In most cases, we have developers, we have designers, we have QA testers. And in a situation where there is no QA testers, we have business analysts that will do that. So The developers here, we could review, do the functionality testing. Designers here, we do design review, and quality assurance testers, we do usability testing, browser compatibility. All the testing activities will be conducted by the QA testers. And then documentation, design specification, you must document some of the key deliverables in a document. You must have like design specifications, functional requirements, documents, test panel or test results, these test cases or test plan. You must have all this documentation that will help you to do that. In all my projects, we have test plans. It's very, very important to have functionality requirement, call them depending on the environment, product backlog, functional and non-functional requirements, documents. You know, these are some of the things, and some you have like documentation like user interface, wireframes, mock-up. These are some of the documentations, even process maps, depending on the area you are. All these documentations will be in place while you, even before you start the implementation of the project. Then we have change control process. All changes must be documented in a change request form and approved by the project manager before implementation. You know, while a project is going on, I've had questions like this countless of time, even in waterfall environment and in agile environment. Change is welcome in projects. More especially, it's difficult, more especially in waterfall environment because of the rigidity, but it still will have changes. All you need to do is that when a stakeholder wants to implement a change, for instance, what is a change? A change is that when the project is starting, the stakeholder will agree that the color, the primary color of this website will be blue. But over time, maybe the stakeholder will change their mind. We don't want blue color again. We want kind of greenish blue, or we want green. They can change their mind. All you need to do is make sure that these changes are properly documented in change request form, carry out the impact analysis, and make sure that it is approved by the management. Before it can be approved, impact analysis, there is what we call change management board in projects. The change management board must have what we call change impact analysis to determine the impact and the necessary resources required for that change. Once that is completed, it can be adopted. Another way you can see a change is adding a feature. For instance, you might be building a website for a news agency. Most of the time, news agencies, their website is blog, kind of blog for them to be writing news and sending videos. These are kind of website. But you look at these days, so many of the news agencies are beginning to integrate e-commerce feature in them. So if the original plan is to just build a website for news agency, just a blog, and over time the management or the stakeholders or the project sponsors say, at this point, I want this to be integrated into this. I want e-commerce to be integrated. All you need to do is carry out, make sure it is captured within the change request form and carry out a feasibility study or the impact analysis, understand the impact. The impact here is going to be, can we achieve this within the already agreed timeline? Most of the time, the answer is going to be no. You have to identify the impact. The impact is that it's going to change the timeline. Can we capture this within the budget? The impact, most of the time, the answer is going to be no. So you have to make additional budget, supplementary budget for that. So once that budget is captured, timeline is captured, and you submit it to the management and they say, yes, we are happy, then who are you to say that a change will not be added? You capture this change in a well-documented way, and that is it. So that's what I mean that change control process, it must be documented. You must have a clear way of capturing a change. And then KPIs, number of bugs identified, user satisfaction rating, website loading speed. So like when I was saying determining the objectives, I say we have to be specific. If you say bug free, like I said, it's very difficult to say that the software is bug free. So you must see like what is the acceptance level of the number of bugs or the percentage of the number of bugs. You can say just maybe minor bugs can be, ignored, and the user satisfaction rating after this, the project has been or the software has been implemented, you must have a review to understand the satisfaction of how the users feel, how satisfied they are. So there must be a user satisfaction rating. And if you are loading speed is part of the objectives, so you must have a way of, if it's 5 seconds is the loading period, so you must have a way to measure that. So during if the is loading within more than 5 seconds, that might not be acceptable. So these are the performance indicators you might be looking while trying to say that yes, these guys have done a good job or they have not done a good job. So this all called like API or success factors. So with this, you see this document is very simple, but it's very, very effective. It help you to, know what to do at any time in terms of the quality of your project. So this why we need it. It's very, very important. You might have every document, control, monitoring, and you don't have any standard document as a guide. It's going to be difficult for you to monitor, control, and do all these things. You need a guide, and this is quality management plan is a good guide. So we come to change. The next document we need to talk about is change management plan. We had a brief talk about change control process, change management plan. This describes how change to project scope, schedule, resources will be defined, evaluated, and implemented. So people struggle a lot within projects if they don't have standard change management plan in place. It's very, very important to have a change management plan. So many times we do hurriedly start a project without proper, putting things in order. So why we do this is because a situation like that might come. And for us, young project managers, you might find yourself in a fix. You see, we have some ridiculous stakeholders that always want to take advantage of you, your naivety or your youngness. So you have to protect yourself in an environment like this. If you don't protect yourself with situations like this, you will see yourself running into scope creep, struggling all the time. That's why you need to have change management plan. If you don't have it, you see some stakeholders, they will come, hey, Mr. Charles, how are you doing? In this project, I want to these features, have these features for me. It's very, very important. The management really want this. We can't even do without it. You must capture this, Mr. Charles. Being that you are just a novice, you are new to the organization, and you want to, you see him as a big stakeholder, you want to impress him, it's okay, so I'll capture it. Yeah, you capture it without proper change management plan. Over time, you see yourself sweating, struggling, because you see that the amount of work you have is too much for the timeline you have. And the budget you have cannot capture this. So if you are very, very smart, you have the deliverables within that you are working on within the project charter. All you need to do is politely tell the person, well, this thing you are telling me is not contained within my project charter, so I don't have budget for this. But if you insist, you just do the needful, capture this through a change management document, and we'll talk about it. Simply, you've addressed this issue. So if this guy is very serious, he will go and fill a change management form and bring it. You and your team will do the impact analysis and understand the amount of time required, the resources required, the extra budget required, and then present it to the management. If they approve it, then you carry on. And you see, you will no longer struggle with timeline, you will no longer struggle with budget, because this has been captured. And when such a thing happens, you need to adjust other areas like project charter. It can be readjusted to add extra requirement, and then increasing some of the areas like timeline, budget, everything need to be readjusted. Or you can create a new project charter version 2 to capture the new change. So the virtual one, you might decide not to, in project charter, not to touch the version 1. That's why in project we have what we call version control. When you are creating, adding features or different, you have to create another document. So when people want to see the progress or the activities of it, they will see the version, how things have been progressively been improved, or things have been changing, and the sequence, or the date, and how it happened. That is the history, the project history. So that's why we need this kind of document. For instance, here, look at this example, say change, implement a new customer relationship system. The reason, improve customer efficiency and data management, stakeholders, sales team, customer, and the department. You capture communication plan, you capture training, and then resistance to management and monitoring activities. So in this, you have captured, this is a change initial project. Initial project is a change. So but if in this project, if you are still want to have any, like within this, add more extra features or integration or within, then you need to have what we call change project change, or how you capture extra change, or we call it change management. Let me change a request form. It just escaped my mind. We need to add what we call change request form. That's what you need within this change management plan. But this is the original change, which is within the project. Every project is a change. So within this, you need to capture, use change request form to address any change that is happening within this project. So another thing we need to talk about is lesson learned documents. When you start a project, it's very, very important to have what we call lesson learned meetings. You know, lesson learned meeting is a situation where we have to come periodically to look at all our activities and see where we have, you know, struggles, challenges we've had, risk we've managed. How did we manage this risk? What would we have done better to avoid this risk? Or how would have managed this risk better? All these activities in a project, all the challenges, what went well, what didn't go well, we need to capture everything in what we call lesson learned document. And you cannot do this at the end of the project. If you want to capture it, because it's one of the documents you need to submit, which is going to the archive of the organization. Every company or most companies should have what we call project management office. So when a project is concluded, every document related to that project must be submitted to the project management office. So within that project management office, most of the key documents we need to submit is what we call lesson learned documents. So it's a document you build over the time. It's not when you close the project, you start creating your lesson learned, because lesson learned documents is the document most people are going to leverage on to learn about the project. If a team has started like a library where people go and do research within the organization. If a team are trying to start a new project, they are going to go to lesson learned library to look at various projects the team have handled in the past and look at them and see how do they do this, how do they do that, and it becomes a way for them to, you know, learn mistake others have done and mistakes. With that, they should be able to avoid such mistakes. For instance, looking at, let's see, this is, I wanted to show you guys something here, but let me see. Okay. You see here, these are various projects. These are various projects going on here. So all these team, they are working on various projects. While they are working on these various projects, they are having a lot of challenges. They are doing this. I will encourage them to start building their lesson learned document. Why is that? Very soon, you guys will start your own project. And while you start your own project, and very soon when we're having crucial meeting with this team, I will start inviting you people to join, not to contribute, but just to watch how we are managing projects. And that is how you learn. So very soon they will finish this project and they will go. But all the resources they use here is going to be archived, more especially the lesson learned. So some of you, I will prompt you to go and look at lesson learned and see where these people suffered, because so many of them are having challenges, they are solving it. So that's what that's why lesson learned is very, very important. It's very, very important that we document lessons we have within a project, and then it's going to be a very big document in future. So in lesson learned, we'll have areas we captured here under the categories. These are, we have a communication, testing, resource planning, sources, challenges. So, and here is lesson learned and action. Under communication, let's look at kind of challenges. The team meeting were crucial for staying on track and addressing issues promptly. Okay. Implement under communication, weekly team meeting were crucial for staying on track and addressing issues properly. Action here is implement weekly team meeting as standard practice for future projects. So it's a lesson learned, and this is what they've decided to do because of this weekly team meeting in terms of communication. Testing, in terms of testing, because of the challenges they have during testing, see early and frequent usability testing help identify user interface issues before launch. This is lesson they learned from these projects they handled, website redesign. These are where they have issues, and this is the lesson they learned, and this is the actions. Integrate usability testing earlier in the development lifecycle for future projects. Then resource planning. Under resource planning, underestimated the time needed for content creation. So they didn't plan well here, so they underestimated the time for content creation. And the action here is improved content creation time estimates in future project planning. And then sources here. Utilizing a cloud-based project management to facilitate collaboration and document sharing. So this is a success for them. This really contributed. They're telling you one of the successes here. And the action is that continue using cloud-based projects management tool for future projects. So you see some of their key areas, some of the successes, some of the challenges here. Unexpected browser compatibility issues arose during testing. And the action here is allocate dedicated time for browser compatibility testing in future projects. So now here you see they have identified key areas they handled and the successes they've registered within the project and some of the key challenges. So you keep on documenting it, and the way to document it is having regular meeting. So this lesson learned comes mainly from the project risk, how you manage project risk. So this is where you'll be having how you can go about generating this kind of document in a project. So the easiest way to generate lesson learned document is to continuously have RAID meeting. RAID meeting, I think we've talked about RAID or RAID meeting. During RAID meeting, that is risk. I say is a way of managing risk. Weekly RAID meeting. In all my projects, we have weekly RAID meeting. And within that RAID meeting, that is where we identify all our risk. we identify all the issues, we identify dependencies and assumptions, and that is where we plan to mitigate all these risks. So after having this RAID meeting, what we do with my team is that after RAID meeting, maybe it's a meeting we'll have together. Immediately after RAID meeting, we start lesson learned meeting. So from the challenges we have in RAID meeting and the way mitigation strategies, we start processing our lesson learned for the week. So we keep on capturing lesson learned for every week. At the end of the month, we compile a monthly lesson learned report. And at the end of the project, it's not going to be difficult for us to compile the overall lesson learned within the project, and it becomes a very handy, it's very, very important document for the PMO office. So that is lesson learned report. Another thing we are going to talk is status report. Project status report. It is very important to understand how to write a status report because while managing a project, you have to report the progress, you have to report the challenges, you have to report what you plan to do. And it's important you do this on a weekly basis. As a project manager, these are one of the things you do. You have to report to your stakeholders. The stakeholder here is the project sponsor, or depending on the hierarchy, it can be the program manager. So, and the way you do it is that most cases by maybe Friday, some people don't do their own on Thursdays, so that the stakeholder or the program manager will have time to look at your report and give you feedback before the end of the week. So in most cases, we'll do it on Friday. You make sure you submit your report before 12 noon on Friday, so that your line manager will go through your reports before the remaining hour of the day, and then give you a feedback. So it's very, very important. This is the time you report your progress, your challenges, and the plan for the week, the coming week. So this is a sample of a project status report. The project name here is Marketing Campaign Launch. State the date, project manager, and the reported period. You see from April 14 to April 18. And then you have to report on deliverables you worked on. And these are key areas. Here we have website content, social media graphics, email marketing, budget, schedule, risk, and then next step. So, and then you have to state the overall project health. And then that is it. So looking at this lesson learned here, we'll look at the content, website content. You are reporting here is the progress. All landing page copy and blog posts completed and approved. So this is how we are reporting on this particular deliverable. So with that, the project or the line manager will understand, and then note here. You make additional notes ready for integration. Sorry. integration with the website design. Then you come to another deliverable. These are all the deliverables you and your team members worked on within the week. You see, social media graphics, 70% of social media graphic design and finalized. So looking at here, you can see is 70% work here. And then remaining graphics due for completion by so date, April 22nd, because you have 70% of the work done. But this one you can see is completed. Then you come to email marketing, email template draft, and awaiting final content approval. Targets note here, targeting list finalized and ready for deployment. Here you can see you've completed it, but is waiting for approval. Then budget, you have to talk about your budget. So looking at here, this is the 3 deliverable you and your team worked within the week. And the first deliverable is completed. The second deliverable is 70% completed. And the third deliverable is completed but not approved. Then the budget, you look at your budget, you can see here you are on track within your budget, meaning that everything, you are not struggling with your budget. There is no need for you to come and start giving budget breakdown. So it's only when you are struggling with your budget, but here is you're on track, and minor adjustment may be needed based on final graphic design costs. So you make a note here, but everything is on track. Then on time, because what we are looking at is your budget and time. You must comment on your budget and time at all time. Website content slightly ahead of schedule. Social media graphic running behind. So what do you do about it? Social media graphic team working overtime to meet the revised deadline. So here you are trying to mitigate. You can see here slightly ahead of schedule, but here the graphic here is running behind, and you have this one is very good because you are slightly ahead of. So you are being proactive, you are working hard. But in this social media graphic, you are running behind schedule, and you are here providing mitigation on this. Social media graphic team are working overtime to meet this revised deadline because you guys are running behind schedule. So you have to, this is the way it is captured. You've reported your timeline here. Then you come to risk. You need to state the risk you are facing. Potential delay in marketing launch if content approval is delayed. So this is a risk. So you have to work hard to avoid this delay. If it delayed, it becomes a risk. That is potential email marketing launch. If potential delay in marketing, if content approval is delayed. So this is a risk for you, and it's good that you have already identified the risk. So let's see how you are trying to mitigate the risk. Project manager in communication with content team to ensure timely approval. So this is what we are doing already to mitigate this, making sure that there is no delay. And next step, what do you have to do going forward? So integrate website content with design, finalize remaining social media graphics, finalize and approve email marketing, and then email marketing content and schedule email marketing launch. So looking at this is what you are going to work next, and this is what you and your team will be working on the coming week. So with this, you've given the line manager a rundown. With this, line manager already know the state of affairs in your projects, how healthy. And you're looking at it, look, because we have risk here, potential minor delays, we can see the risk here. We are not in a very good, this project, looking at the overall health of this project, is on yellow, meaning that it's not really on track. It's not really on good health, but it's not critical. So if it is critical here, the color here should be red. And if it's on everything is very healthy, the color here should be green. So because of this, seeing this, this can be yellow or this can be amber color, showing that at least this is a kind of sign for you to work hard. At risk of minor schedule slip, but corrective action are being undertaken. So because of this risk, we have this yellow. So there is a flashlight, but it's not red, it's not danger. So that is it. So, but as soon as this is corrected, we don't have any risk, any pending risk, we can change this to green. So these are, call it rack. So we can change it to, let's say, green, but we cannot change it to green for now. And we cannot change it to red. We can't change it to red. So this is how we'll be reporting. It's either red, yellow, or green. So red is critical. This project is not in a critical condition. So we leave it back to yellow. Leave it back to yellow. So this is how you submit your a project status report. You've captured everything. You can have so many types of, when you're working, this is a very simple design or template. You can have different types of templates you can use to capture project status or report. You can use it in a slide, PowerPoint. You can use it in any way you want, but it must contain information like this. All these key areas must, whichever format or whichever document, you must address all these. The main thing is that you address all these areas: deliverables, budgets, timeline, risk, and next. And then the project overall health. So then project is all about meeting. We have a lot of meetings, and it's very, very important that we capture meeting very well. Meeting minutes of meetings is very important to capture that very well. so that if you don't capture it, you are going to be missing a lot of things. You might forget a lot of things, so it's very, very important. So this brings us to project meeting minutes. Is a document. We need to provide a documentation. These days, people use video conferencing for a lot of meeting, and they do record it, and they forget to write minutes of the meeting. But it's important to know that some of these videos cannot go into our project as a project file. So it's always important, even if you record it, extract, write a minutes of the meeting, have a document used to cover it. In most cases, we're still having our conventional meeting, roundtable meeting. So you have to learn how to, capture minutes of the meeting, because in a conventional office where everybody comes to the office, you are not working remotely, there is need for you to have a proper minutes of the meeting and then distribute the minutes of the meeting to all the stakeholders involved after the meeting. It's very important. So we have what we cover is record of discussion, decisions, and action items from the project meeting. So let's look at this sample and the section. Here we'll capture the meeting time, meeting date, meeting title, meeting date, meeting time, meeting location, attendees, those absentees, agenda, and that's it. So it's very simple, but it can be very handy, very, very handy if you have things like this. You will not struggle. Why? Because you have a lot of things to do. So you need all these documents to help you, to be on track, so you won't forget things easily. If you don't have this like this, you might forget key decisions, taken in important meetings. So looking at it here, we captured the meeting title, weekly project team meeting, date, time, location, and attendees, and the agenda here for the meeting here, project status update, that's the agenda, review progress on website development tasks, discuss minor delays in design completion, that is the agenda. So we have bug reporting and resolution. We'll talk about it, capture this here. Then we'll talk about usability interface. These are the items discussed within the meetings. You capture it here, and then the action taken. After this meeting, we had a discussion about various key items or issues bothering the project. So there must be a key takeaway. In every meeting, there must be a takeaway. You must capture those things, action taken. These are the key takeaways. Everybody should understand these action items, what to work on after the meeting. That's why it's very important to have minutes of the meeting. And after capturing it, it's very, very important to make sure that you send it to all the stakeholders involved for them to see the actions and work on them. So according to here, you see John Smith, action items, John Smith, update project Gantt charts with revised deadline, and the due date should be April 20th. Then you have John Doe, fix all high priority bugs identified by quality assurance, 2 days, April 25. Then we have Mike Lee, Finalize social media graphics, due date April 22nd. And Sarah Jones, prepare a report summarizing usability testing, and due date is April 29th. And then the next step is briefly discuss agenda for the next meeting. So this is very, very handy, and once you have this kind of template, you are not going to struggle in your project. You know what to do at every point in time, you know. So it might look very simple, might look, these are very, very important. If you don't know how to do it, it's going to be difficult. All these things, knowing how to do all these things, so many people do not know how to write. Please, this is not, this is an official document. This video here we are recording is official document. So if you are making noise, you are affecting other people, because a lot of people are going to consume this video. So I don't want to remove you. I want you to just respect yourself. So that is it for minutes of the meeting. So we'll have this covered. And then another document we need to look at is what we called project closure reports. So I'm trying as much as I can to cover all the documents. Once we cover these documents, we then have to go to project techniques. In techniques, that's where we can see maybe where I can use these documents. And so that's why I'm trying to see we can cover all these documents. We have project closure reports. It's a very key document as well in project management for the project managers. A document that formally closes the project, summarizes its outcome, lesson learned, and provide recommendation for future projects. Okay, this is a simple project closure report, how it's going to look like. So here you see the project name, the project manager's name, and the project date. So you capture it here. Website redesign project, manager Sarah Jones, and this is the date. So if you come down, you see the categories. These are items you need to capture in your closure reports. You have to capture, you have captured the project title, the manager. So the next thing here is the project objective, key deliverables. You need to give account of the deliverables, the project outcome, the project budget, the project schedule is timeline, and key signatories, and team members, lesson learned, open issues, and recommendations. So with this, you close this project and hand this document, get this document to the project repository for the project management office. It's going to be documented. It's a very powerful document. So it automatically brings the end of a project. So if a project is closed, everybody who is interested in that project should be interested in seeing the project closure report. This will help them to know how this project is closed, whether this project, is first shut down or is successfully closed. Okay. Here you have the objective. The objective of this project is to develop a user-friendly and visually appealing website, improve website functionality and navigation, increase website traffic and user engagement. That is the objective of this project. And then the key deliverables here is new website launch at so date. All project documents, design specification, functional requirements, and test plan. These are key deliverable archived. Project outcome. Website successfully launched and meet all functional requirements. User testing result indicate positive feedback and feedback on design and usability. Initial website traffic data show promising trend. And then note, include specific data point if available. So this is the outcome of the project, means that the project is successful. The traffic, we already started seeing traffic. The user testing result indicate positive feedback on design and usability. So it means that this project is meeting the objective stated. Then we look at the budget. So here on budget, we need to capture the original budget, because in so many projects, the project might not end with the original budget. So many projects, we'll see project managers having supplementary budget, maybe one supplementary, but even two supplementary budgets. So that's why we first have to capture original budget. So, and then final budget. Here is, you put the figure for the original budget and you put the figure for the final budget. If the original budget is still the final budget, that is very good. But if the original budget is not the final budget, then we must have variance. What is the variation? In variance here, you need to put the figure here. Let's say the original budget is $10,000. And then after there is a request, change request for this to add an e-commerce feature or shopping cart within this, which attracted another budget of, let's say, $2,000, making it $12,000. So here the original budget is going to be $10,000 and the final budget is going to be $12,000 and the variance is going to be $2,000, and then explain the reason for the variance. The variance here being that there is a request, change request for extra feature, extra requirement, which is shopping cart. And that requires additional budget of $2,000 to implement that. So that is how you document it. And then project schedule is the timeline. You have to state the original timeline, and you have, just like the way you documented the budget, and state the actual timeline. So if the original timeline is, let's say, you need to carry out this website redesign in 3 months, and because of the extra requirements, the shopping cart, you have to spend another 1 month trying to add this feature. So the original timeline is going to be 3 months, and then the actual timeline is going to be 4 months because you added 1 month. So there is variance. The variance here is going to be 1 month. Instead of 4 months, instead of 3 months, it now become 4 months. And then 1 added month become the variance. You need to make a note to show the reason for the delay or for the extension. So here, you need to clearly state that there is additional requirement. There is change request that's requested for a shopping cart, additional feature, which is shopping cart to be added. And it took 1 month to get that change to be implemented. So you capture it, and then you capture key signatories. Key signatories here, you have to capture. If you are working for, maybe you are a freelance or you are on a contract, then you need to state the company you are working for. So, and the title, can state it here, and then include the project sponsor, the project sponsor's name and the title. The project sponsor, in cases here, like if you are working in an organization where you and your project sponsor, both of you are working there, then you capture the project sponsor and the title. But if you are working for an external, means a contract, you capture the client name you are working. So these are key signatories. So you need to capture them. And then team members, all the team members that are part of that project, you have to capture everybody. Even those that left before the project completed, you need to capture them. Because if there is kind of, you cannot say because this project team member left, is no longer going to be captured here as a team member. Mind you, you have spent some money paying his or her salary at some point. So if there is any kind of audit, we see how many team members, how did you spend the money. So if you have not captured that a team member that have gone, then it's going to be difficult for you to give account of the way. So you must capture everybody that have participated, whether they stayed till the end of the project or not. You need to capture all the team members. Here we have team members. We have John Doe, developer. We have Jen Smith, developer. Then we have design team. We have Mike Lee, designer. Sarah Lopez, designer. And here we have quality assurance team. And we have Sarah Jones. So this is how you capture team members, even business analysts, everybody. You capture everybody that participated in that project. Is very, very important. And then lesson learned. You cannot close without talking about this lesson learned. In most cases, it's going to be difficult for the lesson learned to be captured here. For lesson, all you can do is make a reference of where you kept the lesson learned, or you can here include bullet points of key takeaway from the project. That's the lesson learned. You can keep it, but if you can equally make a reference, a detailed lesson learned can be found so project repository. So we make a reference for that because we have a document called lesson learned. But you can capture bullet points or bullets or just make a reference, whichever way, but you must capture lesson learned here. It's important. Either you capture it or you refer where it can be found. And then open issues. Open issues are things, some of the issues we didn't resolve in our raid. If there is any open issue, then it must be stated. In most cases, it's very important to resolve all the issues before you close the project, but we make provision for it. For they can have minor issue which can be, but in most cases, it's always important to, close all the issues before closing a project. So list any outstanding tasks or unresolved issues. You capture it here. And then recommendation. Suggest any improvement for future project. Based on your experience, you can make a short note suggesting any improvement or things that could have you and your team could have done better in next project. So that's it. So that's how this is done. And because of timeline we might not continue. So we still have other documents we still need to you need to capture all the documents because you don't know which one we are going to use or they are going to make compulsory for you to use. So we're not going to lose leave any stone unturned in terms of documentation. So we are going to stop our training materials. We're going to cover them tomorrow. Training materials, how to procurement documents. We have a test plan and test cases. We have resource allocation plan. We have requirement documentation. We have deployment plan. And then we go to techniques in project management. So we are hopefully by tomorrow, we are going to finish everything about documentation so that you can authoritatively know the documents you need to produce within a project. Is a very key takeaway, even if it's the only thing you need to take, is a key takeaway for you from this boot camp as a project manager. So you cannot say, I've never seen. All this template is just to make sure that you are not going to say, I've never seen a project closure report. I don't know how it looks like. You've seen one. If you can produce something like this, you've done a good job, to be honest with you. If you, during your project meeting, if you can document, have this kind of meeting, minutes of the meeting document, you have done a good job. If you can create project status report looking like this, you've done a good, even some experienced project managers, if you see their documentation, you won't believe it. So whatever we have here is good. It's very good. I'll say very good. So that's it. And if you have good graphs of all these documents, go and sleep. You are a project manager. All you need to understand the techniques very well. Everything within the techniques is just producing one document or the other within the techniques. So that's it. So thank you for your attention. And tomorrow we have to start from training materials because it's very, very important in projects. Most of the projects we are doing, implementing software, you need to train materials. You need to training material for the training, and it has to be created within the project before the completion of the project. So at this point, we are going to have time to interact and you ask questions, and then we call it a night. Okay. I'll start from the first person raising hand. So, and we have Selimat Oyelami.
Good evening, Mr. Charles.
Good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful class. Please, sir, I have two questions. My first question is when you were talking about project closure, there is a space for open issues there. So I would like to ask, sir, that when an issue is still open, can we actually say the project is closed? So in a case where we have situations like that, can you please give an instance? I'm kind of curious. I want to know. Then
Like
the second,
I said in open issues, here I said that most cases you need to close, but if it can be minor issues, maybe we can have let me give you an open issue here. Team members might have a conflict, and that conflict is not resolved very well between the two members. There is an issue in a project. But you can see that that conflict not being resolved will not affect, did not stop the website or the implementation of that website. So the key deliverables here have been captured, like all the delivery usability, both functional and non-functional requirements has been captured. So that is the main thing. You look at the main objective, goals and objective of that project. Has it been captured? Has it been everything, the objectives? You're looking at the objective. But an issue is something that happened that affect the project negatively. So two members not really maybe having good time and it wasn't resolved very well is an open issue. Maybe you find a way to resolve it and it wasn't resolved very well, but that cannot stop you from closing the project. It's an open issue, you know. But in a case, it's always important not to, have open issues. Everything must be resolved. But to have it because it happens, there are situations where it happens, and that's why they want you to capture it to know that this wasn't well properly resolved, it's still pending, but the project can be closed. You cannot say the project that is have 6 months, at the end of 6 months everything is tested and is working, and because of challenges between two members you say no, we cannot close this project until we find the lasting solution to these two team members fighting. People fight a lot, even in this project we're having, this project I've showed you. There's a lot of team members fighting all the time. You know, we do what the one we can do to conflict resolution, and we leave it. You know, but it's important to make sure you resolve everything. Like you say, I say it's very important, but these are kind of open issues
thank you, sir.
that can be ignored. But when you have like a key deliverable, so you cannot close a project when you have a key deliverable. It can only be closed if we don't have enough resources to implement it. And for instance, if we are asking for a change and there is no extra budget for that change, and you and your team have agreed to add that change within the project, and at the end of the day, they are not ready to release funding, they are not ready to extend the timeline, and you have accepted to implement the change, like you are a novice, you are free to do that, you close it, but you've agreed to do that. So within this thing, you still need to capture it as an open issue that you could not implement the shopping cart you agreed with your team to implement. And the reason why you couldn't implement it, you have to give reasons why that couldn't be implemented, because there's no enough budget for you to do that. Although you have to say, though it wasn't captured in the original, but you and your team agreed. So if you made such mistake that you didn't know how to capture change requests, capture change, there's a change request and you didn't capture it very well. In a situation like this, it can lead to you having open issues within your project. So, and because of the timeline, you couldn't complete it, and because there is no extra budget, they can tell you, no, Charles, we don't have any extra budget for this. What do? You have to close the project.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. My second question is about our learning site. I don't have the problem of logging in. I'm always able to log in. But I discovered that the fifth class, that is project deliverables, the one we did last week Friday, has not been uploaded on the site. And I know I got the link, the YouTube link, but it's not that clear. I'm unable to zoom, and also there is no access to the class notes under it. So I'm asking, sir, that is there any update about that? Like, how soon do we expect it to be
Well,
fixed?
this is not part of this. I'm not going to respond to, but I say anything related to class. We don't mix issues.
All right, sir.
So you would have called me personally or go to the platform, and that is where we resolve issues. We have what we call issue resolution, and our platform is for issue resolution. We don't resolve issues like that when we are having a class, and more especially when you treated a topic. We are trying to ask questions on that topic. When we are expecting to address questions on a topic, some people might not understand some aspect of the topic, and they're now talking about what is happening in course portal, which is not part of this. It doesn't make sense to me. And on that, we have countlessly addressed that issue. It means you are not following what is going on in this course or in this program. So the next person here is Hope Ada. So we'll have Choma. And then we'll have Ayemere Vicent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Charles. My question is based on the variance, budget variance. When you need extra, you can budget for it, which is maybe $2,000, making it 12,000 according to you. But what about if there's shortfall? Maybe the budget is $10,000 and after finishing the project, you now have you're unable to finish spending that 10,000. Maybe you spend 8,000. What do they call it? Or how do you retire that money?
Yeah, they will give you an award now for being the best project manager in the company, for saving money for them. So it means you saved money for them. And I think in that, and if you can save money for the company, if you have $10,000 to spend in a project after critical analysis, evaluation of that project, they budgeted $10,000 and you spent $8,000 and you achieved everything you are supposed to achieve, then you deserve an award. And you should start teaching others how to, do cost management. So there is no special way to just state how much you spend and how much left, and that's it. And it goes back to the company's account. It's not going back to your pocket, but they can decide to give you a bonus, you and your team bonus, Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. We have Ikechukwu there. We have Gods.
Hello, sir. Sorry, you called me earlier. I was having network issues.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Charles.
Right.
Okay, I wanted to ask about, you talked about bug reporting. So please, can you throw more light on that, and how effective is it when you're having a project manager or when you're having a project management?
Bug reporting.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a place with bug reporting is what is a bug is an error in like code error, things like that. So when you have a bug, after testing, there's what we call, though we are going to come to that in a business analysis, because most of the time the person that looks does that is business analyst or the quality assurance. So they draft what we call test plan and test cases. So we use that test cases to test every user stories when we're implementing a solution. So when there is a bug, the bug, that particular DC need to go for what we call regressional testing, where they have to go fix the bug and test again. So that is what we call bug testing or bug reporting. So we have to keep monitoring bug. So when we fish out a bug is error. You go for correction. If well if you are writing a software, let me say in a website, instead of you writing maybe you want to capture somebody's name, if you want to write Charles Ugu and you write Charles Ugwa, instead of you write A. These are some of the issues I'm having with my name here. All this why Igbo people they always write Ugwa as Ogwa. So in a website where they capture, maybe I'm the project manager, if you go to is a bug because that is not my name. All you need to do is to go and do the correction. So that's what I mean, a bug. Some people start seeing bug. When they hear bug, they start feeling something different. Another bug could be that a website is not working the way it's supposed to work. Like for instance, a sign-in page, like what you guys, so many of you are having in our website is called bug. We're having a bug in our website. Where you put in your username and or your email address and your password and they couldn't log in, it means there is a bug and it needs to be fixed. So that's what is called a bug. It can be caused by one thing or the other. So also in a situation like that, you report that bug, but the project manager or the business, you report that bug to the developers. Or when during the testing, everybody should be there. Even the developers, the business analysts, they should be there, seeing when they are testing all the features in the website or in the software to make sure that they are working. So this is what we call bug. Bug can be can find bug in even a construction site. We can have bug in a building. In a building where we have a building plan or we have a white door, a door is supposed to be white. And when they fix a door, the door becomes black. That is a bug. The owner of that building might not take it. He say that is not the specification. It happens a lot. All these mason people, you tell them to do this, They start doing I tell them I want milk color, they will go and paint white color. They say it's almost the same thing. There's nothing like almost the same thing in project. Specification is specification. If they want one window, you put one window. If they want two windows, so these are all called bugs. Bugs is not only in a software. Bugs is a mistake. It can be intentional or it cannot be intentional. It can be kind of oversight. So they are all called bug. In road construction, where they are building a drainage system, in the specification, they can say, we want it this depth, 6 feet deep of this drainage, and you find out that what they have is 4 feet. This can be intentional, it cannot be. These are still bug. All of them are bug in project. Bug is a mismatch from the requirement, project requirements. They have requirements. Once you are not getting the requirements, whether it's in software, whether it's in automobile, whether it's in construction, is a bug. Is that okay? Okay. Good luck. I'll go.
Mr. Chef, you called my name. I was having network issue. I don't know. Hope.
But you've reduce, you put down your hand. So if I call your name and you're having network issue, you should still leave your hands up to know that you are still interested to talk. So there's no way I would have known you are still interested to talk. You can go ahead.
Okay, my question is, when putting the names of the team member on the project closure, you made mention that even if the team member is no longer available at the time the project is coming to an end, we need to put their name in case if there's any payment that has been made to that team member. So my question is it the duty of a project manager to make payments to pay team members from the budgeting?
It depends on the way organization they are doing it. Most of the payment is done through the HR, but still there is accountability in a project. So it depends on whoever. It's not you have account departments who most of the time, or payroll, who decide how the payments is done. It's not the project manager that pays, but these are people that worked under you and they got paid from the company's money or from the project budget. So the payments they are making in projects, more especially if too many of them is a contract. In too many projects, they hire a lot of contractors. So many people working in that project are under contracts. So there is budget for that project, whether it's accounts, whether it's a payroll or whichever, that payment is coming from the accounts, from the budget of that project. They cannot pay you from any other resources because a budget has been made. When a budget is made, it covers even everybody that's going to work for that project. And the project leader, project manager is the leader. So indirectly, the project manager is paying you because he's the leader and he's managing the budget. He cannot come and start paying you, call you, who, this is their money. They might have somebody in their account paying, but it's from the budget of that project that they are paying. So he needs to give account of how he spent the money.
Okay, sir.
So have good luck, Argo.
Yeah, Mr. Charles. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, my question is on the time you showed us project status. I think around that place where they wrote a lot of things, which include 70%, as in it is actually a place where the state of the project is written. So I want to know how regular or often is one supposed to fill up the documents for that project status.
Project status report, how often?
Yes.
Project status report is, you have to determine that with that's when you have to do stakeholder analysis. You need to agree with your line manager when you are going to be submitting a report. If you go back to when we did stakeholder analysis, when we are talking about communication, I talk about it. How often? If you go there, you see when I said frequency of reporting or communicating with stakeholders. Status report is a communication where you submit your periodic update. So, say telling me most of the project I clearly stated that is 1 week. That is done at the last day of the week. I clearly say that is Fridays before 12 noon on Friday, so that the project, the line manager will have time to respond. I said that, I remembered. I say some people do it on Thursdays. These are mainly, this is standard that so many companies follow. But if your line manager say, no, I don't want it every week, I want it in 2 weeks, then you do it in 2 weeks. So if there is no standard regulation that status report must be every week. Companies differ, they do things differently. So, but that particular document shows what you need to report during the status report. I don't know if I'm being clear to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Then we have Ikechukwu Eze.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, everybody. Okay, this training is actually getting more and more interesting, and I'm enjoying it. So my question, sir, is on the overall project health. Can you please throw more light on a situation where the overall project health is red, and what could be the implication on the project manager's performance?
If the project health is red, means that the project is in critical condition. It means we are not doing well. So you might face a lot of questioning from the project management office to see why you are struggling, or you might face a lot of questioning from the project program manager or the project sponsor who owns the project. So you need to give account why your project is in red color, why your project is in critical condition. So if you have no answer to that, then you might likely lose your job. So there is no two ways about it. There's a lot of risk in your project, and you are not doing anything about it. That is it. So that's what I mean by critical. When you have too many high risk in your project, we did risk. We are still yet to do risk analysis as a technique in project. But when we are looking at risk rate log in capturing risk and issues, we've seen how to mitigate risk. Every week we do rate meeting, we capture all this rate, we assign people to manage it, we we come up with mitigation strategies to address all the issues, all the risk, all the dependencies, everything in that area. We talk about it. So if you are following these processes, the way we talk about it and handling all your risk, there is no way you can find yourself in such situation. And if it's for instance, situation beyond your control, like pandemic, natural disaster, or this thing, or even war, everybody is clear, is very clear. You still need to capture it. For instance, if your project is in red because you can't go out during COVID-19, everywhere was shut down, your project is supposed to deliver this project in 2 weeks, but because of lockdown, for 1 month, you and your team have not seen. So who is going to fire you because you've not had a meeting with your team for 2 weeks or for 1 month? But you still need to capture it so that they will see why it is red. So like I said, you need to have some answers to but if you don't have, in a situation you don't have answer, it means you are not in charge. As a project manager, you should be in charge of your project, just like a pilot. You should be in charge. Just like a pilot, your flight is having serious challenges and you cannot talk about it. Or you are a driver, you should be able, or a captain, you are in charge. So if there is situation, you should be able to talk about your situation while you have your project in a very bad shape.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. So, and that's why every week when you are reporting, is their duty to state if your project is in good shape or not in good shape. You have to say that. You have to state where your project is. It's not the duty of the project program manager to tell you. You should be able to say, meaning that you are on track. And you, within the reporting, you saw when I said I put it on yellow color, I stated the reason why it's on yellow color. And then I stated the action, how I'm working to mitigate this issue. It's already stated how I'm working to make sure that I get it on track. So all these things are things you need to document. But if you don't have any answer to that, even if you are in a pandemic and you are not reporting that, you cannot tell the program manager that you are in pandemic, then it means you are not a project manager. So we have Abimbola Irabo.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. My question is talking about the bug, because I was paying attention during that bug area aspect. And when there is a bug in the project, and how can a project manager manage this situation in such a way as to avoid scope creep and also mitigate this bug so it doesn't have an impact on the project? That's my question one. And my question two is, as a project manager that is employed by an organization at the middle of the project, how can the project manager manage such projects effectively, especially if it's just a new project in the company?
Okay. When we identify bugs in project is during project testing. So we have project timelines. We have if you have broken your project into all the deliverables, you assign all the deliverables a timeline. Every deliverable must have a timeline. Testing activities must have a timeline for you to do testing. So if you are testing, that is when you discover bug. You don't discover bug all the time. It's when at the point of testing to make sure that everything is working, that is when you discover bug in your project. And when you are testing, you must make provision for regression, for bugs to be corrected. It must be captured in your timeline. So there is no way you can say only if you didn't capture enough buffer, because you know why you are testing, because you know that there is chances that some areas might not work the way it's supposed to be. And when you capture it like that, then you should be able to address it. So for instance, if you have to do testing 1 week, then you need to make another space for any correction that might come up from that. You made provision. Maybe in another 1 week, you need to make corrections to fix all those bugs. Most of the cases, bugs are minor issues that can be fixed, you know. But because before a deliverable goes for testing we're talking about here is called UAT, user acceptance testing, where a user have to come and test it. There's what we call dev environment. Within the developer environment, they must have had a testing there within developer environment and make sure that things are working before bringing it out for UAT testing, to test it and see that it. So you see, a series of testing must be going on. So there before it must have limited the amount of bug to a very minimum variable. And like when I say that, it's very difficult to see a project or a software that is 100% bug free. I said it's very difficult based on my experience. So you must state like acceptable percentage. Like I said, normal topographic error instead of names, that one, all those. But major bugs, like you want to do something and it's not working. For instance, these are something that if you want to log into, like some of you will log into a website. So at this point, this website is working, so it's not a project, it's a software. So all you need is get the team to fix it. We have gone outside. We are no longer in project, like our cost portal is no longer in project, it's no longer a project. We've started using it. So we just kind of issues, troubleshooting issues or something that's why we have team to support, because after project we'll start having tear and wear. You know, that is not part of the project. You cannot say that you are using your car after 3 months and you developed a car engine, you go to you say that the car factory, they have a bug and they didn't finish the project. No, this can be out of tear and wear. So I don't know if I'm making a point.
Sir, yes, sir, you're making a point. I just wanted to say something because you mentioned something about issue. Is that at that point that we already put it on the issue log?
No.
Okay.
Issue is challenges you are having in your project. Any challenge within your project, as your project is going on, you call it issue. It's not a risk. You know, so like bug is mainly when you are testing to make sure that everything in order, you find out that there is a little mistake, but you already made provision is only if you didn't plan your project very well. You didn't make provision for bug fixing. Bug fixing, you must provide time. So it is a deliverable you already captured. You already made arrangement, you already made provision for that. So it's not an issue per se, because there is provision, you made allocation, knowing that there is situation like that, and for people to fix it. But
Okay.
is the situation where a bug cannot be fixed, it means there is no poor project planning when the bug cannot be fixed. Because at that point, the team must have tested the software so many times even before coming out to say we are ready. So if it comes out at that time, UAT testing, where you are testing it before the whole stakeholders, and after then you discover the bug and that bug cannot be fixed within the timeline stated, then there must be a situation that there is not, only if you don't have enough, maybe it can be during, because even if it's during hiring, you hired a poor developer that doesn't know what to do, within the development, before, you must have known that this developer is not good. And you must have sorted that out within that period of time, knowing that you hired the wrong developer. So these are some of the things that can, a situation where there is a bug and bug cannot be, fixed. Using, for instance, I say the white door. When a client required a white door and you put a black door. So, and during the testing is here is during inspection. And the client say, I didn't want this white. This is not what I requested. I requested for white door. And what you people are putting here is black door. I don't want it. That door can easily be removed and replaced with a black. That black door can easily be removed and replaced with a white door, or it can even be repainted. So there's no way you can tell me that they say we cannot remove, if trying to remove a door, the door cannot be removed again. While you have carpenters that fix it, they can't remove the door, or they try to paint it, the door refuse to be, repainted. So these are what we're calling, these are, like I said, bugs, mistakes. You can't correct the mistake you made. Then it means you are never a technician. You are not even supposed to be there. So these are the things. I don't know if you are getting it from this point of view.
Yes, I understand you, but I'm trying to ask a question as well from an experienced person. Have you seen a situation whereby the project is currently going on and maybe the project manager realizes that, oh, we are not going to move ahead with this project because of XYZ factors? So can a project manager halt a project, or is it the job of a project sponsor?
The project manager doesn't have the right to halt a project.
Okay.
You do not have that power to stop a project. What you are there is to lead the project. You can make suggestion that, but you are not even you are just like a leader. You are leading that project to success. But if you feel that that project is no longer required, it's not your duty to say that the project is no longer required. Is the owner, you cannot tell the owner that this project is no longer, you can suggest, maybe if you are a professional, you know very well, but your duty there is to help them implement this project within this standard, within this budget, and within this timeline. It's not your duty to take any other decision that this project is no longer valid It's only the product in agile environment, you call it product owner, or the project sponsor who owns the project and say, I don't want this project to gain. You know, as a, for instance, let's say you hire the wedding planner, and then you tell a wedding planner, I want my wedding on so date, and you are planning, and all of a sudden you tell the wedding planner that I don't want you to hold that wedding again. That in short, you tell that he's not, you don't have no power to stop the wedding, the groom and the bride from having their, all you can suggest is maybe this thing cannot hold. You can suggest, but it's not your duty to stop. Even if you are looking for a hall or reception venue where to hold it and you cannot find, you cannot stop it. It's your duty to keep on looking for. You can't tell them you cannot hold. You can just suggest. You know, so these are things you cannot do as a project manager. You can't stop a project. You can suggest why project should stop, or if you have challenges or things, yes, you can capture it. And they can say, okay, because of so reason, we might not continue with this project. But not you to say, we have to stop this project. It's not within your power.
Thank you, sir. The second question is, what can a project manager do when you're employed at the middle of a project? How do you think, what is the best method, what best method do you advise as a project manager to do in order to be able to manage the project effectively and to quickly swing into action?
In the middle of a project,
yes,
they either they fired the existing project manager, or the well, in a situation like that, you can see a project manager is fired, or the project manager resigned, or the project manager even died, or even sickness, and they need to hire another project manager to start. So all you need to do is you need to look for documents pertaining that project. So you need to do normal stakeholder analysis to understand your stakeholders. It's an ongoing project. You need to find the key people within that project, already in the project. Ask for key documents like project charter to understand the deliverables. Look for, that's why it's important to have documents like regular reports that will help you understand the stage of that project. These are some of the documents, all this documentation I'm saying. If the former project manager have been keeping documentations, it's very easy for you to understand the stage of that project. All you need to do is understand the project deliverable and understand the stage. And you continue from where they stop, and nothing more, nothing less.
Thank you, sir.
Carry much jargon.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So regarding the budget, my question has to do with the salary as to the team members. Will staff salary be categorized as part of the budget for the project, or it will be the general salary, like maybe other expenses for the company and not the project alone?
I've said that before. Someone have asked that question. Every budget covers everybody. If you have 10 team members, the budget of that project will cover their salary within that period of time. That should be part of the budget, you know. So If you have a business analyst, they are paying their business analyst from that project budget. You have a project manager, they are paying the project manager from that budget. So that's why they cannot hire more people that is not covered within that budget. If that is the budget we are talking about, we are coming to project budgeting, costing. In costing, we have overhead costs, and these are the part of the things we need to cover. Overhead cost. What is overhead? Overhead is the cost of those employees, their salaries. These are part of the overhead costs in projects. You have material cost. So, but where it seems some of you are running so fast. So, but we are coming to project costing, project costing, which is a technique in project management. We have all those. Even if you look at the project plan, although we've not looked at project plan, we're just identifying documentation. You will see that all these are resources. We call all the people working in that book, or they are all resources of that project, and they need to be budgeted for. We have human resources and we have material resources in a project. So everybody working in the project is human resources. And all the materials we are using, like if in software development, buying license for software, things and that, these are material resources. If we are working in a construction, a building, real estate project, all the cement, concrete, everything, iron, these are material resources. So we have human resources, material resources. This is why the budget is meant for, to cover human resources and cover material resources. Is that, have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So the company doesn't pay you from their pocket while there is budget for you. So that's it. So at this point, I think we've addressed some of the issues, some of your questions. If over time you still have anything confusing you, you can drop it in the forum and I will address it. We see that at times when the question is dropped in the forum, you see so many of us already, contributing. So it's very, very good. I see so many of you handling some issues, some contributing. Is aware of, learning as well. So I monitor in a situation, maybe I see is not being treated very well. I will join to give my own view on that. So thank you for your time in joining tonight's class, and tomorrow we'll try as much as we can to complete everything about projects documentation, and then we'll move to another section by next week. So we are still working on resolving all the issues we're having in our listing. So we've made a mitigation for that to make sure that you still have access. So by providing a link to YouTube, that is a mitigation strategy put in place to make sure we are you are not struggling so much while we resolve the issue. But some of you think that everything works like the press of a button. It doesn't work that way. But the main thing is that an issue has been addressed and there is a mitigation strategy in place. If there is no mitigation strategy in place, you wouldn't have any place to even go and watch or to make a mitigation strategy till it's part of the strategy till we sort out whatever challenges we're having. So thank you and good night.
Thank you so
Nice,
much.
sir.
Good
So much
night.
for your time.
Nice. Thank you.
Right.
Good night,
Night, sir.
everyone.